Hello everyone, in this video we will explore RxSwift Traits, a specialized type of observable that gives us more control and flexibility on handling the observable event. We will cover the three main type of traits: single, completable and maybe. In RxSwift, traits are simple wrapper around the observable sequences. There are three main type of traits: single, completable and maybe. In this video, let's try to understand the single trait. A single is a variation of observable that guarantees either a single element will be emitted or an error will occur. Once the value is emitted, the observable immediately completes or terminates with an error. This is useful for the operation that are expected to return exactly one value, such as network request or database query task. Single threads will emit the success or failure event, like on success and the on error. On success emits a single element. On error emits an error if the operation get fails. Let's try this with the example. Now I have created a function fetch data from API which accept the parameter result type. It is type of bool. Based on the result type, it will return the success or failure single observable event. So if you see here, I have written the business logic that if the result type is true, it will return a success event. If the result type is false, it will return a failure event. And this function will return a single is type of string. Now if you see here, I have returning the single, and for that I have used single.create method, which takes the closure that provides the way to handle the logic to produce the result of single. So this closure will have the logic which will return a result type of single. This closure receive the parameter single observable. So this is the parameter which will receive from this method, and it is which is an object of type single observer. This closure will use determine what the single will emit. So if you see here, this create method which will accept the parameter which will have the implementation of the resulting observable sequence. So this is the single observable which will have the parameter, and if you check this, check the result. So the result is nothing but the enum type, and which will have the two cases, that is success and failure. So as I mentioned, the single will emit the two events. It is either success or failure. So single observer, so this single observer can accept the two type of events, that is success or failure. The success, this success indicates that the operation was successful and the produce a value. The failure indicates, this failure will indicates that the operation failed and produce an error. After the event is sent, whether the success or failure, dispose.create, this dispose.create is returned. So this is the way of managing the resource cleanup. Dispose.create creates an empty disposable, meaning there's no additional cleanup required in this specific area. So now let's subscribe to this fetch data from API function. The subscribe method takes up the three closure as a parameter. So this subscribe takes the three closure as a parameter, that is on success, on failure, and on disposed. So it is depending on which events you want to handle. So on success closure is called when the observable emits a success value. On failure will call when the observable emits an error, and on disposed closure that is called when the subscribed is disposed of, meaning the observable unsubscribes from the observable, and or the observable is no longer in used. So as I mentioned, this on success closure will call when this success events will triggered, or on failure closure will get called when the failure event will be triggered. So let me run this code and we will check the output. Now if you see here, it is printing the received value, and the received value is data fetched successfully. Because I have passed the result type as a true, so that's why it's returning a success event. So that's why the on success closure will get triggered. Now let me pass it as a false. Now if you see here, the on failure closure will get triggered because of I am passing the result type as a false, and if the result type is false, then I am emitting the failure event. So that's why this error occurred data error get printed in a console. To summarize this video, fetch data from API, return a single that either emits the fetch data or an error. The on success or on failure callback gets triggered based on the operation output. Single will use when you expect exactly one value to be emitted, or an error if something goes wrong. For example, network requests, database queries, or database action. That's it from for this video. In this video, we have learned how the RxSwift Traits works. Play around with this single thread in your own project. In next video, we will see the completable and maybe thread in detail. Leave a comment if you have any questions or suggestions for the future video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and click the bell icon for more RxSwift tutorial. Thank you for watching and happy coding.